So this is what, in fact, we proposed, was to actually to use also the type of buildings which compose very often those industrial areas, to compose with it a new neighborhood. To use as well, not to lose also this idea that it's important in our cities to keep a real counterpoint of nature. And what is also extremely important, and it's been asked in a former question, is somewhere when you build up neighborhood and when you have as well, and we see one of the main point here was to implant art foundation, and you need to have a good transport. You need to access quickly to the place. You need to have people who are coming regularly, and that it's innerved in a way. So a lot of programs, mixed as well, not as a zone, not the housing in a certain way and in a certain place, and then the activities on others. Propose really a combined mixed city. You can see here on section how all of that can actually superimpose. You can also propose different type of housing. And the interesting thing also, which is also opportunity of those sites very often, is that they also give the opportunity to react towards and to associate also to the transformation, to the innovation, neighborhoods which sometimes are those neighborhoods from 60s, quite hard, quite difficult, and it's this synergy, it's this energy which can actually also help to renovate as well those areas. And of course think about big program, catalyzer program, which can attract. Here it was a big sport hall that was really places in a way in combination with all the transport and public transport. So you see how in a neighborhood as well, the different program and family of program, sports, commerce, shops, activities which are still there, offices, and housing everywhere in superimposition, because housing that is, it's also the place where there is the link, where there is the inhabitant, where people can meet, and also is the place to create really a real social mixity with different type of housing, social housing, but as well expensive housing altogether. And of course the culture, which can also spray out of the main that you can see on the island, the main program, which was the Fondation Pinault, that was expected to be there, Art Foundation of Mr. Pinault, who have one of the most important contemporary art foundation, and it was actually supposed to come at the point of this island. This was the former island, and these points, everything was going to be demolished. There have been also a lot of defense for this big island, because in a way it was quite unique. It was a 1 hectare island, somewhere just in one big space, and this as well is also important. Is in those sites very often you have totally incredible buildings which are just there by function. Because it was the function to have such a huge space, but at the end, when the function is not there, when the use is not there, it can still be transformed into a total different thing and turn out at being something totally exceptional. So many projects have been done there. Finally, the Fondation Pinault installed itself is now in Venice. And it has been, of course, a very important loss for the neighborhood, but nevertheless, well, the neighborhood is carry on, is building, and is getting more and more alive with a new program, new cultural program, and transform itself into a total new neighborhood. In the north of Paris, again, it's a 200 hectare site, and as well, sometimes you have also those industrial areas are quite in tricky places. They have a railway, they have a highway, they have. So you can say, well, those places it's impossible to do anything with that. It's too. But somewhere you can also turn it over and say that it's have a certain certain character of unique in the city, especially when it's in the city, in the urbanity, and then you can start to think of what to do the moment that you consider all of that in a very different way, where maybe a railway and maybe a highway can become more seen as a kind of landscape area, as a kind of defining actually places where big, large ilots of mixed use can become more like islands. So that's, in fact, the way that we like to look as well for those sites, those industrial sites, without any a priori, actually, of what it could be and what it can generate. It's also the way to turn cities which are like Paris, which are very traditional cities and very which have of course a huge history, but there is also the place for contemporaneity, and these places most of the time in the cities are in those industrial neighborhoods. And of course is the pretext of all kind of different program again, and neither too empty from the industrial use. This was a proposal as well. Some of those buildings, we can let them like this. This was a big how can I say, entrepôt, hangar, and on the former site of railway. And in fact, what we proposed, because it was which is interesting as well in those buildings, is that sometimes they are, I would say, over structurally built. So they have enormous beams, they have enormous concrete pile, because they are from another time, on the time where they were over-dimensioned. And very often, you can really use them to have a kind of second life above. You can transform. That's what we were proposing, to transform it into a large cultural center, and above more have like a kind of new space, new floor, and build on the top, and be having these very specific places on the above. So we lose this competition, but somewhere, well, you know, things are always good, because this is actually an idea which have been taking over and is realized. A bit further in the same area, we did also thought on urbanization, side about 6 hectares, and the particularity is that there is some fret, how do you call this? It's all the transport, I don't know if it's the English term, the fret. It's all the goods transports. The goods arrive by the Gare du Nord, by the north of Paris, logistics center, yeah. And the particularity is that there is demand to keep the logistic there, which are those big, and in the same time to bring a neighborhood, mixed-use neighborhood again. So how to do that? How to again, for us, I think what's important as well is, and in this case, it's really to consider really the neighborhood in his real scale, and not to try to do or not so good logistic or not so good neighborhood, but just to combine both, to again see where we can densify. This question of densification, I think, is very important in those sites, because you have the place to densify, and you have as well the place to have real green space. You have the place to really be sustainable and transform those sites into strong, sustainable, contemporary neighborhood. And here again, where activities, offices, but as well cultural activities, services, equipments, housing, different type of housing, social housing, free sector but closed. All of that can really take place in those neighborhoods. And below that, you see beyond this very long strip, well, the freight is, the logistic is maintained, with also in the south, a whole pole of logistic. So suddenly the constraint of having the logistic maintained on the site, which is the railway, having the possibility to have train arrive, give the possibility as well to, we need to cover it because we need to build up a neighborhood next to it, and it gives the possibility to have huge part of real green, which is in a neighborhood which is quite suffering as well from no green, from ancient buildings which are quite in dysfunctioning. It's also the opportunity to bring some conviviality, to bring some, and the neighborhood is almost, I mean, it's almost without car. It's totally sustainable, and offer a new life for this site and create a global, total mixity. In Lyon Confluence, which is there, we had a bit different role. We actually built a housing project within a large neighborhood. It's quite of an important project. Where the Rhône is meeting the Saône, the two big rivers, and there is very large former sites, which was totally industrial, and then there was this decision to transform all these industrial island in the south of the station, so well connected. Again, this question of connection, which is rather important. Also the linking with a new tramway line, the decision to build up a new neighborhood with multi-use, a lot of housing, but also the occasion to bring in Lyon, which is a very traditional city again, some kind of really totally new contemporary housing, and also with very, very high environmental quality item, because the project is part of the European Concerto project, which are almost like very, very low consumption.